the legend, Ron Jaworski. Jaws, thanks for joining us.
Spike, Ike, Jack, great to be with you guys. Should be an exciting game on Sunday.
What's up, Jaws?
Oh, I'm doing great, Ike. Sorry I missed you last week.
Well, I'll be there tomorrow again, 7:30, buddy. you meant missed us here on the show.
Yeah.
By the way, you're low. I got to say this story. We had a team in the Super Bowl of golf. The NFL has a Super Bowl of golf every year, and my team represented Philadelphia. We shot 18 under par, scramble, and lost.
Oh,
I think
wow.
there's some sandbagging going on.
Something not right there. You shoot 18 under par, you're not supposed to.
18 under and don't win, something's wrong.
Yeah, that sounds like cheating to me. I'm going to launch an investigation.
I know some of the other guys in the other teams, so I'll be nice. I'll be kind.
Yeah, well, just nonsense. Everybody keeps their own score or whatever. I don't know. Golf is a mystery to me, generally, Jaws.
It's a good mystery.
Jaws, we've talked about it a lot. The players have talked about it. The team is going down early to prepare for it, and that's the Heat down in Tampa. When you were playing, how did Heat affect you, and how do you think it might affect the Eagles on Sunday?
Well, if you're not used to heat, it certainly does have a negative effect if you don't know how to handle it. But the weather hasn't exactly been freezing up here all summer, and it's been actually a very good week. So I'm not sure. Obviously, it'll be hot. It'll be humid. It'll be 1:00 game. The sun will be right above your head. So it'll have an impact. But it's going to be the same thing for the Buccaneers. I never buy into we practice in it or we're used to it. If it's hot and it's 100 degrees, it impacts everybody.
Yeah, I would say so. It seems like. What do you think about them going down there a day early? We heard Baker Mayfield say something to the effect of that. Going a day early not only isn't going to help you from a physical standpoint, it might make you even think about it even more. What do you think about them going down there early?
I have no answer. We've heard. I've heard so many stories about the heat, cold, jet lag, going east coast to west to east. I think a lot of it's just guesswork and the frame of mind you go to the game with. So if the Eagles go in the right frame of mind, which I think they will, I believe they will, it doesn't matter what the temperature is tomorrow, what the heat is like on Sunday.
So this has been talked to death. We have not heard your opinion on it, having rewatched the film. The difference between the first half and the second half against the Rams, was that an execution issue? Was it a scheme difference? How did they go from so inept to so good from one half to the next in the same game?
I think you'd probably have to look at 6 halves of football right now. This team, to me, right now, is still a mystery. And I kind of go back to, my roots and playing in the NFL and played for coaches that won close to 1,000 games. 1,000 games, guys have coached like Don Shula, Dick Vermeil, Marty Schottenheimer, Chuck Knox. Those are darn good coaches. And they'd always say, we don't know who we are, we don't know who they are until there's at least 4 games on film. And I think that's where the Eagles are right now. I can't tell you what this team is going to be. Is it going to be a running team? Is it going to be a passing team? Is it going to be a team that's conservative and wins on defense? I don't know, but I think we'll get a pretty good barometer on Sunday. But I think you got to let 4 games go by.
If you were, I guess it's hard to say, you were coaching the team on Sunday, and you saw what they were able to do in the second half, paired with the fact that the Eagles haven't been as effective running the ball this year. Would you change your approach this coming Sunday compared to your approach in previous games?
Yeah, I think I'd probably be a little more aggressive, on early downs throwing the football. But I think clearly Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, let us off the hook a little bit in that second half when it went 26-7. I think they felt, okay, we got this game in hand and we'll just kind of play a prevent style of defense. And he gave A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and the offensive line a chance. And obviously Jalen got red hot, the best half of football he's played in a long time. And he got hot. So I think they went to that kind of soft prevent. And I know defense guys always say the only thing that defense does prevent us from winning.
Yeah,
that just seems to happen when you let a quarterback and Jalen Hurts, those receivers get going. That's the problem you run into when you're not prepared, for a team that's going to now open up after you've dominated for half the football game.
I'm interested, Jaws, in how the second half of that game sort of impacts Jalen moving forward. I'm under some belief, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it, that I think sometimes he's holding the ball and not letting it go on time. I thought in the second half last week, he just played unconsciously. He saw it, he threw it, they caught it. It was without any hesitation. Can having a half like that and getting into that type of rhythm, can you carry that over, like the momentum and the confidence of playing that way as a quarterback?
Oh, hell yes. There's no question of that. When you're hot, you're hot. And you want to throw the ball more. I think everyone sensed Jalen was getting hot. The receivers got their mojo back. They were catching the football, making plays. And by the way, I thought the offensive line, which I think has been playing mediocre this year, really got it going in that second half as well. Jalen seemed to have a better rhythm. The ball was coming out. When he needed a little more extra time, he got the extra time. So it was a combination of good play calling, receivers running better routes and getting open, Jalen finding them and throwing the ball accurately. It's really simple when I say it that way, but it's hard to do it every single play, week in and week out. But I thought the way they played that second half against the Rams, I expect more of that than the slow start they had.
I think you sort of started to answer this particular question there with your answer there about the Eagles' inability to run the ball as effectively this year compared to last year. How much of that is the offensive line not playing quite as well, and how much of that is defensive coordinators just sort of locking in on the Eagles' running game and deciding that they're not going to get beat by that?
It's never one thing, and it's probably a combination of better defense and things that the defense is doing. Remember, the defense had 7 months to study this Eagles offense and what their strengths and weaknesses are. And we all know this offensive line is phenomenal when they're healthy. Obviously, Lane was out last week. I believe Landon's still probably dinged a little bit. I don't think he's playing up to his ability. And in general, when you got a couple guys not playing up to their standard that they have, there's going to be a little bit slack in the offensive line. But one thing I've kind of noticed, teams are, like I said, 7 months to study the Eagles offense. All offseason, every team they play has had all their computer geniuses breaking everything down. And I thought through the first 3 games, the defense right now are focusing on Saquon Barkley, not giving him the edge. And I think another thing I noticed, and Ike and Spike maybe just talked about from looking at the tape, which shows, I think defensive line are not playing that, get in and contain, which I thought they did a lot of last year, and Saquon made that contain useless and waste of time. I think what I'm seeing now, our defensive line now going more for penetration, and penetration normally is the kryptonite of the running game. So I think defense now, in studying the Eagle offense, they're coming across the ball, slants, stunts, twists, trying to getting more penetration than they did. I thought, just as an observation, looking at the tape, that's one thing I think I see.
Mm-hmm. Jaws, as a quarterback, you face a team that likes to blitz a lot, right? Like Tampa does, Todd Bowles.
Yeah, man.
I wonder, how do you combat that? Some quarterbacks will welcome the blitz because they know where they're coming, and you actually clear some of the windows to throw the ball in when you do that. I'm wondering, how do you combat a defense that wants to bring extra pressure?
Well, they're going to bring extra pressure. There's no doubt of that. And in fact, just a little side note, when Todd Bowles was coaching here in Philadelphia, he was my next-door neighbor here over in Medford. So we talked a lot about defense, and he just come out of the locker room blitzing. He just loves the blitz. He loves to bring pressure, more of those exotic designer blitzes. And he's always created some problems for the Eagles' blocking schemes and for Jalen Hurts. So you're going to see blitzes. There's no doubt about that. And Antoine Winfield is a secondary player, a safety. The blitz is about 1 out of every 10 plays. So you're going to see safety blitzes and pressure. So you just got to expect this week, and hopefully the Eagles be better prepared for it. And I think Jalen's going to be better prepared to handle it because they know you're going to get it. But Todd Bowles is a great defensive coordinator, and now we just got to show that we can handle the blitzes.
The Eagles' defense this year has been interesting in that they've had some, good moments in big spots. They were able to keep the Rams out of the end zone several times last Sunday, which ended up helping. But other teams, outside of Kansas City, Dallas and the Rams move the ball really, really well. Are there signs of optimism in the Eagles' defense when you rewatch it that they're coming together, and we may see them improve in the way that we saw them improve last year?
I think this eventually will be a tremendous defense, and I'll steal your point like they did last year. We didn't expect the defense performance we saw last year, but it came on, particularly the second half of the season. What I see are a lot of individual players that are tremendous players that are still learning how to play in the NFL, young rookie guys that are playing good football, but they're going to be a lot better as they get experience. So I think once Vic gets this defense together, working with them every single day at practice, learning from the experience they've had in the game, I think it's once again will be. I'm not saying it's going to be the number one defense, but I think it'll be a top 5 defense by the end of the season.
You probably couldn't find 2 quarterbacks who are both really good, as different and how they play the game as Jalen Hurts
right.
and Baker Mayfield. When you watch Baker Mayfield, what do you think of him as a player?
One word comes to mind. He's a baller. I mean, sometimes he is not pretty, but he'll fight you right down the bone. I mean, that's the kind of guy. If you give him time in the pocket, he'll hang in the pocket, read defense, throw the football. Remember, he's a 5-year veteran now. He's been around. He's been knocked down. He's gotten up and played. But with the game on the line, in clutch this season, it's only 3 games. There's no quarterback in the league that has played better than Baker Mayfield in the clutch. And he can play with structure from the pocket. He can move in the pocket and still beat you. He can run outside the pocket and make plays with his legs. So this is one of those guys that just drives the defense nuts. And Ike could probably speak better to the defensive perspective. Because you got guys that you say contain, keep in the pocket. It doesn't always work with this guy. He gets outside the pocket, and when he breaks the pocket, he throws with great mechanics. And a lot of guys, I'm watching last night and watching that Arizona game. That quarterback was driving me crazy with his footwork and the way he was treated. This guy's been in the league. I don't know how many years he's been there right now, but come on, you got to be set your feet, throw the football. And Baker Mayfield is that kind of guy. He'll get outside the pocket. He won't panic. He'll reset his feet and deliver the ball accurately.
Yeah.
All right, Jaws, before we get your prediction, wanted to ask you something that we talked about earlier in the show. As an Eagles fan, what situation would you rather be in? Situation 1 is the Eagles are down 24-20. They have the ball at their own 20-yard line with 2 minutes left in the game, 3 timeouts. Situation 2, the Eagles are up 24-20. The Bucs have the ball on their own 20-yard line with 2 minutes to go and 3 timeouts. Which situation would you rather be in?
Oh, there's no doubt. I'm going to be up 24-20.
Okay.
I'd rather play with the lead, make on defense, make a play.
Okay. Well, then Ike is wrong.
It's a great question. I was listening to you guys earlier. It's a great question. It makes you really think.
Just
I don't like to think that deep, though.
Just wanted to get you to take my side.
On the defense, right? That's the way to do it. Put on you guys.
Well, no, I actually went the other way, Jaws. I took the offense.
You should add to that question, where do you get the ball? Are you backed up? Where do you get the ball?
On the 20-yard line, both situations.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm staying. I'll take the lead.
Okay. All right.
I'll take the lead.
All right, Jaws. Well, we are playing a team that seems to have the Eagles' number on Sunday, the Bucs. What do you think happens on Sunday? Give us your prediction.
Yeah, I think we're going to solve this Buccaneer puzzle. They've been tough on us. We spoke about earlier. Their blitz schemes are really good. Todd Bowles does a great job. But we're a little nicked up too. But I think they lose one of their best players in Mike Evans. With him out of the game, I think it's a big difference. It kind of makes up for the fact that we've got some issues in the secondary right now. With Mike Evans out, I think we win the football game 28-23.
All right, there he is.
Like it.
All right, Jaws.
All right, guys. Thank you.
We will talk to you next week.
All right, Jaws.
Thanks, Jaws.
You bet.